Hey everybody, welcome back to Money and Music. I am Doc. Today we're going to be listening to some heavy hitters in the finance and music industry.
If you can buy a soda, you can invest.
We own hip hop, but we don't own rap music.
What's the cliche statement? If you hang around 5 rich people, you'll be the 6th.
I listen to his music because he's talking about, hey, how much farther he wants to go.
And I tell people in my business, I turn dreamers into doers.
Thank you for coming back, tuning in to Money and Music. I'm your host, Doc Fuller, and today we have a 21-year-old phenom, right? CEO, founder of Black Wall Street Originals, BWSO, real focused on stock options, trading. Want to welcome to today's series for Lawrence Eggleston. Lawrence, man, thank you for joining us, bro.
Man, I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's a pleasure, man. So a senior in college, right? Mm-hmm. Like, how did you even get into like talking about financial education and get to where you are right now? Because you have a ton of followers on Instagram. I don't even know about all the other platforms, but I know on Instagram you're killing it.
Yes, sir. So I got started, it was really my senior year of high school. So my senior year of high school, my economics teacher, he sat me down, Mr. Postel, I'm gonna give a shout out to him. He sat me down, he would say, young man, like, you're focused, but you started to drift off a little bit. Like I had a couple classes my senior year of high school. So, I was kind of just relaxing, like getting ready to go to college and university. He challenged me to focus on learning about not just United States economics, but the whole world economics. So I started seeing one common thing. And what was that? I started seeing that people around the world were making money from financial markets across everywhere. So I just started seeing that was one of the most lucrative industries. And I just kept studying, just economics overall, how money works, how money flows, studying what the Federal Reserve is, how money is actually controlled, interest rates. I started focusing on even small things like the difference between subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans as I was getting ready to go to college. Mm-hmm. These were type of conversations that we weren't having, in school before. And these were the conversations I wasn't having at home. But he sat me down and challenged me to look further than just what was at the surface and just what was at the cover. So that's really what kind of got me into it. Then I graduated high school, my third day at college university. I'm talking to upperclassmen, people who are seniors getting ready to graduate, some people who already graduated who came back and said, hey, Lawrence, what's the biggest thing that happens to people is they get a degree here, they leave, but then they don't get a job. So that stuck with me. So I said, okay, now I really got to take this serious. Like, how can I generate cash flow and income from this consistently? I was working 2 jobs, so I had capital and equity to invest, but my money was just sitting in a bank account. While I was only seeing 0.01% of returns, the bank was seeing 99.99% of the returns.
Facts.
So that's what challenged me and honestly got me jump-started to get involved in the financial markets.
Yeah, and so like so you said your teacher was your inspiration, right?
Yep,
so like in your household, what did that look like? Like, what did that financial discussion or lack thereof look like?
Yeah, so for me, my dad, he pretty much was gone by the time I was like 8. So it was really my mom and me and my sisters. My mom, she had a $50,000 household, few kids. So we was able to get by comfortably and it was okay. But we didn't have that extra capital. We didn't have those conversations, really when it was talking about, hey, investing in the stock market, investing in crypto. We didn't really have those conversations at home. So for me, it was always like, hey, let me go out here and try to work, extra time to really help my mom out around the house or, make sure that I could take care of things really myself.
Right.
Didn't want to go, at 15 years old, I'm not asking my mom for money for haircuts, go to the dollar store, outfits, shoes, all of that. I want to be able to pay for all of that myself. So.
Boss talk, right? And like I connect with that because really that was some of my same background as well. The last time my mother bought me school clothes, I was 10 years old. Yep. So I've been buying my own school clothes ever since 10 because I've been working since I was 10 because my father wasn't around either. And so like the cool thing is that you're not a product of your environment, right? Mm-hmm. You can create your future. So like so you had your teacher that set you down, gave you some of that game, but like what has driven you since then? Like, what has been that persistency and consistency story that has elevated you to now teaching others? Because you're doing a lot of stuff right now, even teaching people for free on the block. You go in the hood. I see you on Instagram, right? You in the hood in like some rough areas, right? Like literally with a microphone and a speaker, like educating people. Like, how do you, like, what is in you that drive you to do that?
Because I just see like in our community, like these are things and conversations that we never had. Like for me, I feel like it was perfect timing. Like the age of digital, when we talk about apps like Robinhood, the development of also apps like TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, all of these companies have refined their technology and things have been more accessible. You know, I started talking to older people and said, hey, why did you guys never invest? Because the opportunity was never really there for them to invest. They would go and ask questions about how can we invest our money. They'd be turned away at banks. Now with the age of digital, with things being at your hand, you can open a brokerage account easily. You can trade from your cell phone, from your computer on the stock market. I came in at the right time. And so for me, that's what like really started sparking me and driving me is like, okay, like I see like I used to have to go, you know, work a couple weeks to make, you know, a couple $1,000s.
Right.
And now seeing like, okay, like I could literally make this type of money from my phone in a day's basis. So, you know, a couple trades, I just see the difference in trading my money for money instead of trading my time for
money.
And I understood that because I got my first jobs at 15, got my second job at 17. And I was like, ultimately, like, there's nothing wrong with working a job, but I want to be in control of the dynamics of my life. And so I understood that, hey, if I was willing to push myself a little bit farther, I worked 45 days straight, no off day, just so I can have more capital to invest in companies. So I always tell people, it's like, what are you going to sacrifice? You're going to have to do something that you don't like for a little bit of time and sacrifice to get you to what you want to ultimately do. And once I started seeing that, like once I put myself first and bet on myself, like that's all I know how to do. Like I'm all about, I feel like everyone should bet on themselves. And that's exactly what I did. And then it sparked me because like I sat down with 7 of my friends and I started teaching them. And I wanted them to, now, if I know it, what's good if I know it, but the people around me don't know the information.
Yes.
So the first thing is I'm putting my homeboys on. The first thing is I'm putting people around me. So I started teaching people, you know, that I went to college and university with. I went back to my high schools in the same county and started teaching classes to them. We'll pull up to the schools, go to the counselor's office, go to the principal's office and say, I'm here to teach. I'm here to give these kids information. Because guess what? Now if I can give a 10th grader, 11th grader, even a 12th grader this information, now they're way ahead of me. Now my little sister, she goes to college at UGA. She doesn't work a job. She trades for herself. Now she's going to go to medical school, but now she doesn't have the stress of trying to balance a job and also be in medical school. So these are the kind of things that I'm thinking of is like, how can I make not just my life easier, but other people's lives easier?
Right.
And the biggest satisfaction that I get is seeing other people win. Like that's my biggest satisfaction. I love to see other people win more than I love to see myself win.
I love that. I love that. Les Brown, he's a motivational speaker. He has a powerful quote. He said, if you help people get what they need, you'll have everything that you want in life.
Yep.
Like help other people and like God gonna give you everything that you need in abundance, right? But you said something that was hard, right? You talked about that discipline, right? 40 plus days of just grinding it out, right? Kanye had a verse. He said, what you know about doing 5 beats a day for 3 summers? That's a different world, like 3 summers. I deserve to do these numbers. Like people thinking like he got millions of record sales because he got lucky. And it's not luck. Like 5 beats a day for 3 summers, right? That's what I think of when I hear that 44, right? And that consistency. So 21, right? Junior in college. Like where are your peers at?
So where
like far as like investing, about options, like these are things like they may not even know about, right? And you dividends, these are things that are second nature to you because you're doing the knowledge, right? You're learning from the OGs, the people that are older than you may have a lot of this knowledge that want to share, but I'm sure you're reading tons of books. Like where are they at in that journey?
Yeah, I would say a lot of my peers are still caught up on like the fast money. So like a lot of them, they look at like trading options, stock options, where you can make money off of stocks going up and down.
Explain that a little bit,
Yeah,
options.
So like with options, instead of like, for example, when we seen the other day when the airstrikes happened and those bombings, terrorist attacks happened in Afghanistan, what people think is like, oh, you can only make money off the stock market increasing or going up. You buy shares, so you buy positions in companies, you get part ownership. And people think that, oh, as the stock goes up, that you appreciate in value, and you do. But you also can make money off of stocks going down. So you buy what is called a put option. So a put option has a unique value. And And when the stock price decreases, that option value increases. With call options, you can also make money off of stocks going up using that options contract. So it's a way for like our people and people who don't have like a whole bunch of amount of money to get into the stock market. Instead of just buying a whole bunch of shares, you can also trade options to build equity. So now you're able to trade options, get profits from that, and be able to buy companies long term. So you can do both. So that's why I say, like, with the trading aspect, when things pop up on the news, different current events, when things like COVID, for example, we've seen vaccine stocks. You can make money on the upside and the downside of that.
Right,
so
right.
It's just opportunity, you know, for people to make money from the market from a day-to-day standpoint, week to week, month to month, and year to year. So it just doesn't have to be something that you invest in long term. You can also make money in between that time frame.
Got it, got it. And so in order to do what you do, like there's a technical analysis piece, right? It's just it's not just guesswork. You got to do the research.
Yep.
So like what kind of research are you doing when you determine like which stocks, like whether it's a call or put and you know that option that you want to put in there, or a stock to purchase, or even a dividend producing stock? Like,
Yeah, so I would say for me, it's like when I'm looking at companies that I want to purchase long term, I want to look like 5 to 10 years down the line. Does this company have a purpose to where our economy is going to? So if you take a look at some of the companies that have had some of the best returns over the past 5 years, you're taking a look at companies like Square. Square has changed the way the world transacts when it comes to payment. Cash App. When we talk about companies like Tesla, Tesla has changed the way that people drive and travel each and every day. When you take a look at companies like Facebook, social media has grown. You see the way that people interact online. You see that reflected in their stock price and how it's grown.
Right.
Take a look at companies like Apple. You've seen their stock price grow. You also seen the development of Apple and their 5G products, their new iPhones, their technology. So I'm looking at companies that have great long-term potential and are going to adapt as the economy grows. When I'm taking a look at a stock from a short-term perspective, like you said, there's something technical that I have to know, which is chart reading. So from technicals, charts, you can actually see, hey, this stock could potentially go up, this stock could potentially go down based upon what that chart pattern is showing you.
now, are you using like Bollinger Bands or like what kind of technical analysis?
So one of the indicators I do use from time to time is Bollinger Bands. I also do use an indicator which is called MACD, which helps determine momentum. So the stock could be moving to the upside or to the downside from a momentum standpoint. I'm also looking at things like stochastic, which is similar to the MACD, which also measures momentum. And then I'm also always tell people, like, any indicator that you use, you always need to be focused on price first. Because without price, there is no indicators. Indicators indicate price.
Right.
So if you learn how to trade and learn how to view price from support and resistance levels, what is support and resistance? So when a stock hits a level and it bounces at, you
Right.
identify that as support. When it hits a level to the top and it doesn't break over, you identify that as resistance. So that's what those are some of the indicators that I use in there. I mainly just trade price, support, and resistance levels.
That's dope. That's dope. I love it. I love it. And so what does the next 5 and 10 years and even beyond look like for you?
Yeah, so honestly, for me, one of my biggest things of what I want to do is create my own all-black trading floor. So I always tell people this, like, I only have 2 eyes, but you got 2 eyes. The rest of the people in the world, they got 2 eyes as well, too. So if we can collectively come together, the thing is, institutions are only so powerful because they have multiple people. They have a huge number of people. They're not smarter than us. They're not better than us. They have access to way more information because they have way more people to go out there and actually get that information. But now, I was talking about this today, retail traders, who would be me and you, we now have access to information like never before. We now had the ability to if we can focus on more so working together and collectively, if I say, hey, you focus on that stock, I focus on this stock, we come together, we compare our notes, we make each other better, because there's going to be things that I see with my 2 eyes that you don't see.
Right.
And vice versa. There's going to be things that you see with your 2 eyes that I don't see.
Right.
So the camaraderie and as far as like team, that's what I see. That's why I'm going out here in the streets educating people, because the more that I can educate my people and the more that we start to understand this concept, the more that we can go farther together.
Real talk, real talk. And so that's like, it's like collaboration over competition.
Exactly.
Like it's more than enough money out here for everybody.
Because with the stock market, I'm not worried about no feds coming knocking on my door. I'm not worried about big homie cutting me short, trying to give some more to the other young guy.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about none of that because there's me and you could be in the same investment, be making the same amount of money.
That's what's up.
There's no competition. Us working together probably bodes well for both of us.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's the way.
More eyes.
More eyes, and that's why I always tell people, like, this is an opportunity where we can come together, and this is why other races, they stick together and they do this stuff. I hear them. You know, I sometimes may go to like a Falcons game, a Hawks game. You just hear their conversations.
Right.
You just listen to the way that they talk. They may not like each other, but guess what? They're going to finish the business deal. The thing in our community is, a lot of times we don't like each other, but then we leave a business deal on the table and we don't finish. So regardless if you like someone or not, get the business deal done. It's the attitude that I have.
21. Like, real talk, man. That you just dropped some gems right there. So this is money and music. From a financial perspective, from a business entrepreneurial perspective, give me who's an artist that motivates you, that you tune in to listen to.
I listen to Lil Baby all the time because I just like the fact that even though he's already came from where he came from and came up, he's still focused on getting like 100 million. And he talks about that all the time. Like, that's something that sticks with me. Like, someone, like, you want to listen to, you know, people that's not complacent. So for me, I listen to his music because he's talking about, hey, how much farther he wants to go. He's not saying, well, I know I'm number one right now, let me just be complacent. I still ain't touch 100 mil yet, and that's where I'm trying to get to. So that's why I love to listen to, you know, his music and when he kind of speaks, because he's still speaking from, even though he is top dog, he's still speaking like, hey, I'm still underdog. I still got places to go and get to.
Yeah, and we're in the recording studio right now, and Lil Baby is actually recorded in this studio. So shout out to Lil Baby. But yeah, Lawrence, you're doing big things out there with Black Wall Street Originals, BWSO. Like, I'm just.
I appreciate that.
I'm just in awe, bro. In awe. 21 years old, right? Hasn't even graduated college, and you just have such a next level visionary mind. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do next, man.
Yes,
it's like Drake said. Let's see what happens next.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, yes, sir. Appreciate you.
You're very welcome.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.